What common mistakes do people make early on in a relationship that causes issues further down the line? Never use the threat of breaking up as a weapon to achieve something. Don't even joke about it. Only bring up the notion if you're willing to lose the other person. Once that possibility is out in the open, it's a bitch to get back in. Yeah, well said. It's a pretty serious thing, and it's exhausting to feel like any little thing can end the relationship. Not talking about things. Don't hold that shit in. The one who can be open and honest with, that doesn't ruin, is the one for you. Yeah, I introduced my ex to a friend of mine and they started talking all of the time, completely ignoring me. Turns out she had been depressed and didn't know how to talk to me, her significant other, and then cheated on me with a friend. Sucks. Lying about deal breakers early on because they want the relationships to work and hope the other party will change their mind. For example, she or he says that they don't want children, or they absolutely want 3+ kids. You disagree, but hope they change their mind. She or he says that they're deeply IR or religious, and intend to live a lifestyle consistent with that, including with raising their children in accordance with said religion or lack of religion. You don't share those beliefs and think they can be swayed to eventually chill out and tone it down a bit. She or he was raised in a manner that women are the housekeepers and stay-at-home caretakers, wives, or mothers. Meanwhile, you're more modern and expect a more equal household, both in chores and providing income for the household. She or he is deeply dedicated to their job or a goal, like traveling the world, and wants you to do these things with them when you would rather stay settled down or not, or vice versa. You shouldn't lie about who you are, what's important to you, or life goals and ambitions, nor should you expect your partner will change the same things about themselves. If you do, and you compromise on those things or expect them to compromise on those things, at best you might find yourself resentful of each other, or worse, getting a divorce after years of dating and marriage over something that cannot be compromised on, e.g. children. Discuss their relationship problems with others rather than each other. Edit. There's nothing wrong with sharing your problems or venting. Sometimes it's great to get a different perspective, but if you're looking to save the relationship, always go back to discussing things with your partner instead. If you think he or she isn't good enough for you, just end it, and don't ask for anyone's approval. End it mutually and on a good note, and wish your partner good luck. Not setting boundaries right up front. Once you get into a certain pattern of behavior, it's almost impossible to change it. It took me a long time to realize that I wasn't doing this. I was letting people treat me like their therapist or their student instead of insisting on a give and take relationship. I'm surprised this isn't higher voted already. Not keeping up friendships and relationships with other people than your significant other. You can't be solely dependent on one person to be your social and emotional support. You need to maintain friendships, interests, and activities outside of your relationship. Finding the balance might be tough, but it's crucial. You don't want to break up with someone you dated for 3 years and realize you don't have any close friends anymore because you spent the last 3 years ignoring requests to hang out and be social with them. Communicate everything early, often, always. It's the only way to know your compatibility. Lack of talking is what killed my marriage to my best friend. Plus, if you have issues, work on them. Don't just let your mess sit there unattended, go to therapy. Not getting out of the relationship when you notice a red flag or really early. Lots of relationships end because red flags you noticed on the first date. BoJack Horseman has a really nice quote on why it's easy to overlook red flags in a new or budding relationship. You know, it's funny. When you look at someone through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. So this is going to be purely from personal experience, but it's something I'm working on with my therapist, as it's been something I've done in 2 of my relationships that ended up hurting me in the end. There needs to be a difference and a defining line of your idealization of the relationship or person in question, and the reality of it. Let me explain. I see this girl and I've been trying to date her for 7 years. Over the course of that time, even though I got romantically involved with other people, I created this idea of her in my head that she's beyond approach and just a perfect fit. When we finally get together, I go overboard with her and we get too serious too fast. Of course, getting so many emotions off someone is heavy, and when she needs some me time, I start freaking out thinking I've done something to royally fuck up and start having negative thoughts about myself. I put her on a pedestal, and now I think I'm not worthy of being with her and get insecure. This all leads to a negative and dark trail of thoughts, and you end up destroying the relationship before the good part even began. And you just reaffirm yourself that you weren't good enough for her in the first place. Rinse, repeat. Just be proud of who you are. Be calm and loving and realize that someone chose to be with you because of who you are. Let things happen organically, and don't dwell too much in fantasies. Faking orgasms. Seriously, if you start doing this early on and your partner thinks exactly what they're doing is satisfying you, how can you expect them to ever get it right? Exactly. Instead of faking it, teach them how you like it. Also, there's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself, but not achieving an orgasm sometimes. It's not failure. Life and the body can get in the way of them. Not dealing with issues early on. The things you accept in the beginning will continue on and become harder to solve as time passes. If something your partner doesn't sit right with you or is outright wrong, speak up. It all depends on the couple. My wife and I had sex on our first date, moved in together after dating for 3 months, then didn't get married until we were together for 9 years. The best thing you can do is be open and honest with each other, and always be yourself. So don't do the opposite of those things, I guess. Lie. Lie to themselves about the relationship, lie to the person they're in the relationship with, lie about what they want in a relationship. Always be honest in a relationship. Always make it clear what you want, what you don't want, and what is a deal breaker. You'll save yourself and the other person a lot of time. That tiny, insignificant, slightly annoying quirk about them that you don't feel justified in pointing out because everything else is perfect, yeah, that's gonna be the cause of screaming matches down the road. Point it out now and save yourself some heartache. I don't know, my parents have been happily married for over 30 years. It still annoys my dad that my mom's always 5 to 10 minutes late. It still annoys my mom that my dad likes to eat in bed and get crumbs in it. They both know it annoys the other person, and when it's really important, my mom tries to come early, and when she asks him, he cleans up his crumbs or gets a bigger plate. They actually have had screaming matches about each of those things at some point, but it doesn't really seem to affect how much they love each other. Openly lie about their finances. If you act like you make or have more than you do, you'll either dig yourself into a hole of debt or things will fall apart when you try to move to a more serious level. The default should be to play more modest than you are. Way less hassle with gold diggers, and you don't have to worry about things falling apart. No one has ever left a relationship where they find out that their partner has much more money than they let on. Going too fast. As a friend once told me, starts fast, ends fast. I think you need the tincture of time to really get to know someone before you make any big commitments, pronouncements of love, or grand romantic gestures. It can be hard to disentangle from a bad relationship much later on, but taking the time to get to know someone slowly is a valuable experience. I don't think speed has much to do with how healthy a relationship is. Some of the happiest, most stable relationships I know moved quickly, and some of the most effed up relationships I know moved slowly. I think what really determines the success of a relationship is mutual respect, maturity, and similar goals. Some people spend years trying to build those things, and some people have it right away. Not talking about what they want because they think it's awkward or embarrassing. It sucks because in the early days, you really want to impress this person and you want them to like you. But at the same time, that's when you're finding out how compatible you are, so it pays to be honest, even if it might mean things don't last. I used to be a dominatrix, and I saw so much of this that it made me actively sad. People who came to me absolutely horrified of what their spouse would think if they knew that their partner liked to be spanked or whatever, especially guys. If you have hobbies or interests that take time, don't set that stuff aside. If you stop doing your thing for a while when you start dating, your partner gets used to that. And when you try to get back into it, good luck. If you like to spend all your weekend hiking or fishing or something, do it at the beginning of the relationship so they know that's your thing. It sucks when, a few months or years down the line, you decide to jump back into your neglected hobbies, just to have them get upset. Set the tone. I learned this the hard way. If you love me, you'd... This is the worst kind of manipulation, and may cause them to ask themselves, I won't do that, so do I love him or her? So this one time I told a girl that I was Jewish because she was Jewish and I thought that would make her want to sleep with me. I'm Greek. But my name wouldn't really stand out if I told you it was Jewish, so she bought it. Then I spent my time faking my way through it. Then we actually started dating. Then it fell apart when I felt bad about lying and came clean. So I'll say lying about some personal detail. A buddy of mine lied about his age to a woman, said he was 3 years older than he was. She didn't find out until they went to get a marriage license, whereupon she ended it on the spot. Don't lie, and if you do, don't let any of them carry over into a marriage. They don't voice their deal breakers. Relationships are all about compromise. So if there is something that you will never, ever, under any circumstance compromise on, then you gotta tell the other person. They need to know. I don't care if it's business, personal, or romantic. Please, for the love of God, tell your partner before anyone gets invested. I tried to make a relationship work once after a girl cheated on me. Shocking, but it didn't work out. After that, I decided I'd never do that again. It's something I can't work through no matter the reason. So before I got involved with my very serious girlfriend now, I said, I'm a pretty laid-back guy. I can compromise on just about anything. But if you cheat on me, this relationship is over. There's no discussion, there's no working it out, there's also no argument. I don't care the reason, I don't care who, I'm not leaving upset, I'm just leaving. Don't think shit like that is assumed. It's not. People think, well, it was just one stupid thing, I'm sure we can work through it. And that's when relationships go past the point they shouldn't. When one party violates the other's personal code, but the offended party didn't voice it beforehand, how could they have known? Save yourself from wasting your time. When someone tells you, I'll marry you, but I'll never want kids, or the opposite, I'll have kids with you, but I don't believe in marriage, you need to listen. And you need to ask yourself, am I okay with never having that, or never doing that? If you're not, then you need to leave. So think long and hard on what you can compromise on and what you cannot. I don't care what it is, it could be anything. And when you've thought about what you will never compromise on, then you have the obligation to tell your partner before you enter a serious relationship. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and write in the comments what common mistakes people make early on in a relationship.